When not to ask. Did you know that sometimes asking for clarity can lead to less understanding and even complete misunderstandings? If you are anything like me, you have probably been burned significantly by misunderstandings in the past, and maybe you have a very strong desire to be clear and to avoid misunderstandings in the future. Well, today we're going to look at the weird phenomenon that sometimes asking for clarity and trying to get on the same page can actually lead to greater misunderstanding. Hi everyone, Paul Mikolev here from Autism from the Inside. I make weekly videos exploring the nuances of neurodiversity and emotional intelligence, so make sure you hit subscribe to get the latest content. So, how can asking for clarity lead to misunderstanding? There are quite a few aspects of this which we'll explore throughout the video, but essentially the reason is because of what the question communicates. We kind of think of a question as I'm asking for information, but actually asking a question gives the other person information. It gives the other person an insight into what I'm thinking and what I know and what I don't know. And so paradoxically, if I ask a very, very, very obvious question, it communicates I don't already understand. And again, in some ways, that's pretty obvious. If I'm asking a question about something, I am communicating I don't already know the answer. However, if I should know the answer, or if it is a big surprise to the other person that I'm asking this question and they don't understand how I could possibly not already know the answer, then that casts doubt on the entire exchange. What have I already misunderstood? What assumptions do we need to bring back on the table and double check? Because I thought it was really clear. I thought we were communicating really well, but this question you've just asked makes me doubt if you've heard anything that I've said. Now, sometimes that can be a good thing because we are bringing more of our assumptions into question and just checking more things to make sure that we're on the same page. But after we've done that, if we already think we're on the same page, checking those assumptions again and again and again leads to a breakdown in trust that it is even possible to understand each other and even possible to communicate. Good questions lead to greater trust and clarity. Fantastic. I'm glad we clarified that. I feel like we're on the same page now and we understand each other. Whereas re-questioning and understanding that I thought we already have, that I thought we already agreed on, and now it's come up again and we're discussing it again when I thought we already were on the same page about this, that leads to less trust, less understanding, less of this feeling that we get each other and that we're on the same page. Imagine I've got a job with a colleague tomorrow and they say, I'll pick you up at 7 for breakfast. And I say, do you mean 7 a.m. or 7 p.m.? Obviously, breakfast means AM, pick you up before our job tomorrow, which you know when that job is because it's all day in the middle of the day. It's obviously not going to be 7 p.m. All those kind of things. If I start questioning something that should be obvious from the other person's perspective, from the context, then they're going to be wondering, you do know what we're doing tomorrow, right? You do understand this project. You do understand all of our previous conversation that I thought you understood, but now I'm putting everything into question. Similarly, asking questions that bring up options that are way outside the scope of what would be considered appropriate leads people to think, are you grounded at all? Are we sharing a similar reality? Do we share similar values? Am I safe around you? Imagine I'm doing a short film project for my university and I go to the park and I ask a mother with a baby, hey, can I borrow your baby for a couple of days? I've got this project that I need to do and we need, we're about to start filming and we need a baby for the project. Can I just borrow it? I'll give it back in a couple of days. Don't worry, everything will be fine. She's probably going to seriously question my mental health, seriously question how safe she is in that situation, because that is just so far outside of what any reasonable person in my society would agree to that it gives the impression I am unstable, unpredictable, and I think anything is on the table, even horrific options that no one else would consider for a split second. And this lies at the heart of the paradox. Effective communication, any successful communication really, relies on shared understanding. And therefore, questioning that shared understanding often leads to a breakdown in that communication. Everything I say is not only a what, but it's also a why. People are going to ask, why did you say that? What is the purpose of the words you are saying to me right now? If you give me a call and say, my car is broken down, and I say, I happen to know a local mechanic in your area, that's not just a fun fact. I'm saying it because I understand your need and I'm suggesting something that's relevant to the communication. If you tell me my car is broken down and I say, did you know breakfast cereal does not contain asbestos? The other person is going to be thinking, why would he say that if it did not have relevance to the communication? Why would a breakfast cereal say that it contains no asbestos? I'm reminded of an example from The Simpsons. His personal hygiene is above reproach. Think of an everyday sentence like, I am a human being. When do people say that? Why would I tell you that when it's obvious? People say things like, I'm human, remember? When it feels like there's some element of that they want to bring back and highlight in the conversation. Another example of where asking for clarity can lead to a communication breakdown is when you're essentially asking the same person the same question again that you just said a couple of minutes ago. I've asked and the answer is yes, and I say, are you sure? And then I don't seem to be receiving and acting on the yes. Or similarly, what if someone said no and I ask a very similar question, but what about this? Or what about this? Or what if I try and problem solve the thing for the other person? I'm sorry, I can't go to dinner. I'm washing my hair that night. Oh, what if you wash your hair a different night? Would you like to go to dinner then? When we don't receive the answer that the other person has clearly given, then it feels like they can't communicate with us. They are less likely to trust that anything they say in the future will be heard because I asked you and you already said yes, and now I'm still asking you again. A trip up point, let's go with that because that's close enough. A trip up point that I often trip up on, there we go, is I imagine that something might have changed, and then I ask a bit of a similar question. I remember this one time a group of us were going out to dinner, or actually no, I wanted a group of us to go out to dinner after an event, which often happens. I asked a couple of people, there didn't seem to be that much interest, but then as I was leaving, I asked them again. I'm like, okay, last chance, we're about to leave and not go out to dinner together. Would we like a group dinner? And for me, I was thinking, let's give people one last chance. But actually, what I should have done is accepted the reality of the situation that I already had a very clear answer to that question. And so the best thing I could do is accept that answer to the question rather than asking it again and giving people the opportunity to change their minds. In my mind, that's a gift. Just checking because you might want to change your mind, but in reality, it usually doesn't come across that way. Another thing that bears a mention is the role of indirect communication in culture. Thankfully, my culture is reasonably direct most of the time compared to some others. In some cultures, if someone invites you to something, you always say yes because it is more polite to say yes and then just not turn up than to say no and decline someone's invitation. I don't know how people survive. I would not survive in a culture like that. So when someone is trying to communicate to you very clearly but indirectly, it is very important to understand what they're actually saying, whether they're trying to say yes or trying to say no, rather than listening to the words themselves and double checking, hey, did you mean exactly this word or did it have an indirect meaning? And the only way to know this a lot of the time is to be aware of the culture of the situation. In some cultures, it's polite to say, would you like to stay for dinner? And polite to say, sorry, I've got plans. And if you say, actually, that sounds great, I'm free, why don't I stay? They'll be like, what are you doing? You're supposed to say, no, thank you. I was just being polite. And now you've forced me to do something I don't want to do. And this feels like an impossible question to solve. If no can mean no, and no can sometimes mean maybe, how do I know which one it is if I can't check which one it is? I remember this was a really big problem for me in high school, especially. The culture at the time was, it was cool to pretend to be not interested. So how could I tell the difference between a seemingly not interested response that actually means yes, but they're just pretending to be cool, or a seemingly not interested response that is actually because they're really not interested? I got this wrong a lot. Number one, because I would keep talking when someone was clearly not interested. And number two, because I would say, oh, well, I guess people are not interested in this thing, and then I would drop it. Whereas according to the accepted social script at the time, I should have kept sharing my excitement until it's eventually safe enough for more and more others to share that they're also excited about it too. And this sounds like a complete catch-22 situation, because if you don't already know the answer, there's no way to find the answer. Remember that really stupid, annoying phrase from primary school, if you have to ask, you'll never know? I am realizing that in a way, there is some truth to that. The way we understand each other is by building shared expectations, a shared language, shared understanding, and you can't be told what that is. But fortunately, and this is one of the modules in my emotional intelligence course, there is a way to get better at this type of thing. Essentially, we need to improve our ability to guess accurately in the situations where it is impossible to check your answer. Or at least impossible to check your answer in advance. If you get it wrong, you'll probably know about it. And again, ironically, the best way to build that model so that you can correctly predict in advance is by trying to predict in advance without getting clarification on the data. Because if I get it wrong, bad. You'll be told, you got it wrong. Don't get it wrong again. I'm like, okay, something was wrong there. And if you get it right, then you know, again, you've got that feedback and you can update your model so that next time you'll be even more likely to get it right. However, if we circumvent that guess and check process by always trying to check before guessing, then we never get better at guessing. And actually, there is no way, most of the time, to get a really clear answer in advance. That is, without already having a significant amount of shared experience and understanding. So I think I touched on this in my over-explaining video, but if you are feeling the desire to either preemptively explain or justify why you're communicating in the way that you are, or any other kind of over-explaining tendency like that, chances are the problem is actually a lack of shared experience and understanding. And the sad truth in a lot of situations is without that shared experience and understanding, there is no way to communicate the level of detail that you would like to communicate. So if you would like to communicate that in future, the only way forward is to slowly, bit by bit, build up that shared understanding, build up that trust that, okay, we don't understand each other on everything, but we do understand each other very well on these few things that we do not need to bring into question again all the time, unless something big changes, because we know that it's true and we know we understand each other. That's called building trust, building a relationship. Another way to say this is that communication depends on having an existing relationship. And I don't just mean in-person relationships. You understand me today through this YouTube video because we have a relationship and a shared understanding and a shared culture and a shared language. Not everyone is going to be able to understand what I'm saying in this video. Only people with the right type of shared understanding and shared experience will actually get what I'm trying to convey in this video. And hopefully that's you. Anyway, I'd better leave it there for today. We know that many types of social interactions can be challenging for all of the reasons I've mentioned today and many more. Did you know that in an all autistic group, or at least an autistically dominant group, that's close enough, a lot of those things just vanish because there is no set of mandatory pre-existing social requirements that you have to conform to. And it's weird. If you haven't already experienced it, it forces you to ask yourself, what do I want to do? How do I want to communicate? Because you can't mask if you don't know what other people want you to mask as. So that can be a bit confronting. It's also really exciting. And if you haven't tried it, then come along to the next Autism from the Inside Autistic Social Hangout. You can get a free come and see ticket on the events page of the AFTI website. I think that's everything. Okay, I'd better wrap up properly for today. So thanks again for watching. Please leave a comment if you can. I'm always curious to hear what you think, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.